Good morning, everyone. As I've already said, oh God, my mum's calling me now, so this isn't too wonderful. Um, so I'm very excited to talk to you today about a profession that is central to all of us. So that's quantity surveying. Um, in this profession, we'll explore where quantity surveying began, where it stands today, and the exciting direction it's heading in. We'll delve into the historical roots of this profession and the exciting direction it's heading in. Uh, Examine its current challenges, innovations, discuss the future trends shaping our industry. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, I hope this journey through the past, present, and future of quantity surveying will inspire and inform you as much as it has me. But before we actually get into the meat of the presentation, you're probably wondering a little bit about who I am and why I'm presenting to you today. So my name is Joseph Spiteri, and I'm one of the co-founders of Metroun, QS-specific education platform that has currently helped around about 30,000 construction professionals worldwide. So Metroun and QSI recently partnered, which allows me the privilege of talking to you today. We'll actually use this presentation as an example of a course you may find on our website. So first, we'll watch the video or presentation in this scenario, then we'll narrow it down to the 3 key points, and finally, we'll test our knowledge with a good old-fashioned quiz. So if you'd like to answer, please don't be afraid to send a message in the chat, and we'll get into the presentation. Does that sound okay with everyone? I'll take that as a yes.
Yep. Yeah, that's perfect, Joseph. Thank you.
Fantastic. Bear with me 2 seconds. I'll just share my screen. Fantastic. So can everyone see that?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, that looks great.
Wonderful. So we're going to start obviously in the past. It doesn't make any sense starting from the future and making our way back. We're going to start in the past and make our way to the future. So the United States of America was founded in 1776. Electricity was invented in 1879 and the airplane in 1906. So just very quickly in the chat box, which event in time is closest to the creation of the quantity surveyor? Is it the United States of America, electricity, or the airplane? I'll just give you a minute just to put something in the chat. And then I've realized I can't actually see the chat.
I can see it, Joseph. So
there we
we've
go.
got coming in USA, electricity, America,
Fantastic.
USA.
Well, I'll get into it. So if you did guess electricity, it's not quite right. So the correct answer is that the birth of quantity surveying is closer to the United States of America. Surprised? We'll leave it or not. Surveyor. Sorry, the earliest mention of surveying as a profession dates 26 years earlier than the founding of the United States of America. An Irish clergyman, John Payne, who was the vicar of Castle Rickard in County Meath, signed off on a true bill of materials for work at Barrack House at Trim as a surveyor of quantities. So yes, our profession is older than the United States of America. Fast forward a little bit, and we have our first dedicated firm in 1785, operating just out of Reading in the United Kingdom. Now, we don't have a name for that firm yet, but its existence marks a point where quantity surveying began to evolve from a side task formed by architects, builders, and engineers into a specialized profession. A few seconds. The real game changer came in 1802, when a group of Scottish quantity surveyors got together to create the first standardized method of measurement. Before this, measurement and estimates were inconsistent, causing plenty of disputes and inefficiencies in the construction world. By creating a standardized framework, these pioneers made it possible to quantify materials, labor, and costs in a consistent way, laying the groundwork for the profession as we know it today. This Scottish initiative paved the way for the evolution of the measurement standards across the world. Eventually, this led to the development of more comprehensive and widely accepted frameworks, such as the Standard Method of Measurement, or SMM. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Let's continue on this timeline through history. In the 1830s, the term quantity surveyor became more formalized in the UK, with the profession emerging as a distinct discipline. The role of the QS included measuring of quantities, materials, and labour required for construction projects to provide an impartial assessment for payments. In 1836, formation of the London Building Act, which required a more formalised approach to measurement and estimation of materials and building works, further promoted the role of the QS. And on the 15th of June, 1868, 49 surveyors sat down at the Westminster Palace Hotel in London. Now, these weren't just any surveyors, these were the movers and shakers of their time. They had one goal: to create something lasting, something that would formalise the role of the surveyor. That day, they established what would eventually be called the Institution of Surveyors. Fast forward a little bit until 1881, and this is where things really started to heat up. The Institution of Surveyors received its Royal Charter, and this wasn't just a fancy formality, this was rather huge. A Royal Charter gave the institution official recognition by the Crown, instantly elevating its status. And along with that charter came a new name, the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, or as we know it today, RICS. So, what did that actually mean? Well, it meant that surveyors were no longer just seen as technical workers. With this royal stamp of approval, they were now trusted professionals held to the highest standards, experts who could be relied upon to manage land, property, and construction with absolute precision and integrity. The Royal Charter wasn't just about prestige, it was about raising the bar of not just our profession, but surveying as a whole. With RICS in place, surveyors now had to go through structured training, education, and certification. You couldn't just call yourself a surveyor anymore. You had to prove your skills, your knowledge, your commitment to a strict code of ethics. And this actually made a huge difference in how surveyors were perceived. In the 20th century, we see another huge shift. Remember those Scottish surveyors who created the first standardized method of measurement? Well, this is where we see the first publication of SMM. The Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors and Building Employers Confederation, so RICS and BEC, began collaborating to develop a standard approach. Their goal was to eliminate the ambiguities in measurement and create a clear, uniform way to quantify building work. So in 1922, the first edition of the Standard Method of Measurement was published, marking a pivotal moment in construction and quantity surveying. As the construction industry evolved, so did SMM. New techniques, materials, and methods emerged which required the standard to be updated periodically to stay relevant. Over time, as you will probably know, various editions of SMM were released to reflect these changes. And this is where we'll take a little break from our structured timeline and look into the SMM and NRM publications. So actually, SMM continued with multiple iterations up until the 7th edition, which was released in 1988. And then there we go. In 2009, the first part of NRM, known as NRM1, was published by RICS. At this time, SMM7, was still in use for detailed measurement of building work, while NRM began to address issues not fully. Sorry, bear with me 2 seconds. Just so you're aware, I am reading from a semi-script, because if I do this on the fly, you're going to get a lot of ums and a lot of false information. So I wanted to at least be prepared for you guys. But NRM1 began to cover issues that were not completely covered in SMM7. So that was especially cost planning and estimation. The publication of NRM2 marked the official replacement of SMM7. It provided a detailed measurement rules for preparing bill of quantities. It was designed to overcome the limitations of SMM7. Following the release of SMM2, SMM7 was effectively retired, and NRM2 became the primary reference document for detailed measurement of building work. Later on, the introduction of NRM3 was completed, and that was in 2014. Okay, to our timeline. Between the 1940s and 1950s, dim paper became widely adopted as a practical tool for recording measurements and calculations during the preparation of bill of quantities and other tests associated with construction cost estimation. This era saw the standardization of quantity surveying processes, and dim paper provided an organized, systematic method for recording, calculating quantities manually before the widespread use of computers and digital tools. And this is where we get a little more computerized, a little more digital. Dr. Patrick J. Hanratty is often regarded as the father of computer-aided design and manufacturing during his pioneering work in creating computerized systems for industrial and manufacturing purposes. In 1957, Hanratty developed a system called Pronto, first commercial numerical control programming system, which revolutionized how machines were controlled in manufacturing environments. Now, although QSs were unlikely to use Pronto, the technology used laid the framework for other tools such as CAD in the 1960s and 70s, and much later Costex and Cato. Now, though computer systems like CAD had arrived, we're still some way off the Costex and Coins technology that we use today. In 1985, Excel was first released, actually exclusively for Apple, not for Windows. But in 1987, with the release of Excel 2.0 for Windows, Excel truly began its meteoric rise as one of the world's most popular spreadsheet programs. Before Excel, quantity surveyors relied heavily on manual calculations and paper-based methods to create cost estimations, bill of quantities, and cost plans. We used calculators, rulers, and mountains of paperwork, which was not only time-consuming, but also prone to human error. The arrival of Excel in the 80s and 90s changed all that. It became a vital tool for transforming the workflow of quantity surveys in several ways. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time on Excel because it's truly the main tool that we've used for a fair amount of time. It talks to the people that have been in the industry a long time and the trainees that are still coming in today. So with Excel, quantity surveyors could automate many repetitive tasks involving cost estimation. Instead of manually calculating or manually recalculating quantities and costs every time a variable changed, Excel's formulas allow QSs to input data once and let the spreadsheet do the rest. This meant that we could make adjustments on the fly, instantly seeing impact of changes in material costs, labor rates, or quantities without reworking the entire calculation. Secondly, we'll look at cost planning and forecasting. One of the most powerful features in Excel is its ability to handle complex data through sheets, rows, and columns. QSs in the 80s and 90s began using Excel to build dynamic cost plans that could track different phases of a project from initial budgeting all the way to final completion. Excel's capability to visualize data through charts and graphs allow QSs to forecast and track cash flow across the lifespan of a project with much greater ease and clarity. Thirdly, we look at bill of quantities. So prior to Excel, creating a bill of quantities was a laborious task. QSs had to manually record every material, resource, and labor cost in long handwritten documents. Excel streamlined this process, enabling quantity surveyors to build detailed bill of quantities with predefined formulas. Each cell could represent an item or component with the corresponding quantities, rates, and totals calculated automatically. This not only reduced the possibility of errors, but also sped up the entire process dramatically. We look at number 4, which is improved accuracy and error reduction. So Excel has cell referencing and error checking features, which were game changers. QSs could link multiple sheets together, ensuring that changes in one part of the project would automatically update the relevant figures elsewhere in the spreadsheet. This feature reduces the potential for errors caused by inconsistencies and miscalculations. And finally, before we carry on, we look at reporting and communications. So Excel's ability to generate reports in various formats enabled QSs to communicate more effectively with clients, contractors, and stakeholders. During the 1990s, Excel's growing popularity in business meant that most clients, collaborators, were familiar with the software, making data sharing and collaboration smoother and more efficient. By the time of the 1990s, Microsoft Excel had firmly established itself as an indispensable tool for quantity surveyors worldwide. What Excel brought to the table was a level of flexibility, accuracy, and efficiency that reshaped the QS profession forever. QSs could now perform tasks in hours that once took days or even weeks. We could now do this with greater precision and reliability also. Let me just say, the advent of Excel wasn't just about improving productivity. It's about transforming the role of quantity surveyors into a more analytical, data-driven profession. With Excel, QSs can make better decisions faster, handle larger projects more effectively, ultimately deliver greater value for their clients. Okay, now in the spirit of a Metroun course, I'm going to hop onto the website. We'll delve into 3 key points, and then we'll answer just 2 questions. Usually we have 5 questions, but we'll just do 2 if that's okay. So we'll pop onto courses. I am using Premier in Wi-Fi, so it might be a little slow. And we'll continue our course over here. Okay, so we'll look at the past. So originally on one of these courses, you'd have a video with a transcript. We'll go to our key points and then we'll go to our quiz. But here we've just got some key points. So our key points are, we're looking at the origin of quantity surveying. We now know that the profession dates back to 1750 in Ireland, which predates the United States of America, by an Irishman. We look at the evolution of standardized measurement. So in 1802, we understand that Scottish surveyors developed the first standardized method of measurement, and later we look at SMM being developed. And then we look at the technological advancements, which we saw a significant shift in the 80s and 90s with a tool that we still use today. And then we'll pop onto our quiz. It says I failed, but I haven't failed because I haven't done it yet. And that is because I've made it. So I can't redo the quiz. That's my bad there. Bear with me 2 seconds. You get to look into the background of all of this now. We'll skip all this, but very much I was going to ask when the first dedicated quantity surveying firm was established. We know the answer to that Reading firm was 1785. And then also which historical feature is credited for the earliest mention of the surveyor of quantities. And we understand it's John Payne. I think when we go into the quiz for the present and the future, this element will work, but it's because I didn't change that element there. You're seeing the background of the website right now. But let's carry on. We'll get into the present now. How do I remove this tool up here? Give me 2 seconds. Excellent. Can everyone still see my screen? Sorry, I presume so.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's fine,
now,
Joseph. No problem.
Yeah, still see that.
That's great. Okay, now we go into the present. So quantity surveyors today operate quite differently to the past, I believe, anyway. So I manage a team of quantity surveyors in a company called Nationwide Engineering. And my building director often shares stories that highlight just how much the profession has evolved. They'll fondly recall a time where QSs were buried under stacks of paperwork and braved the elements with their measuring wheels in hand, working tirelessly outdoors, even in the rain. They'll point to my PPE and sarcastically say, "Joe, I don't see much dirt on that." And he's quite right, actually. But 15 minutes later, he'll ask me to assess a contract, raise a payment notice, and update the business cash flow. And I'll get it done with speed and efficiency. Personally, I believe the profession has changed quite significantly over the last 20 years. I believe the modern quantity surveyor is far more than just a specialist in measurement and cost estimation. We're true multidisciplinary professionals who wear many hats throughout the life cycle of a construction project. The role extends into various domains, requiring us to act as engineers, consultants, accountants, contractors, economists, lawyers, and of course, surveyors. So let's explore how a QS embodies each of these roles. We'll start with the engineering QS. We might not be structural engineers, but we certainly have to think like them. When evaluating When evaluating project designs and construction methods, we're deeply involved in ensuring technical feasibility. We work closely with the engineers to understand the drawings, specifications, and structural requirements of a project, translating that into a cost framework. We need to understand how technical decisions affect both the budget and the overall execution of a project. The consultant QS. As QSs, we have to act as consultants, providing our clients with the best strategic advice throughout the life cycle of the project. It's not just about telling them how much a project will cost anymore. It's about advising them how to optimize those costs. We use methods like value engineering to help clients get the most out of their investments. We assess risks, analyze procurement strategies, and guide the entire team through the financial decision-making process. We're not just counting bricks, we're ensuring the financial success of a project as a whole. The accountant QS. Now we can put our accountant hats on. Managing the project finances is one of the key responsibilities that we face. We prepare the budgets, monitor every penny that's spent, and track costs to keep the project on budget. But it doesn't stop there. We also handle financial forecasting, giving clients a clear picture of what's coming next. We make sure projects don't just start within budget, but finish within budget. And that's no small feat in today's fast-moving industry. The contracting QS, while we aren't the ones physically building the project, we often take on responsibilities similar to a contractor. We ensure that what's being done on site matches the original plan. Whether it's supervising work on site or dealing with variations, we negotiate with contractors and clients to make sure costs stay in check and the payments are certified appropriately. We act as a crucial link between the client and contractors to make sure everyone's on the same page. The economist QS. To think like economists. Understanding the wider economic environment is also critical to our work. We need to monitor market trends from labor costs to material prices and analyze how global supply chain issues or inflation impact project costs. We have to know how the market operates, predict price fluctuations, and adjust our estimates to give the most accurate cost forecasts. We look at the lawyer. We might not have, well, I don't have a law degree, maybe some of you guys do, but we might not all have a law degree, but contract law is a big part of our job now. We draft and administer contracts, ensuring all the legal obligations are met. When disputes arise, because they inevitably do, we handle claims, negotiate variations, and ensure clients or businesses protected. We often act as a mediator between parties, using our knowledge of construction law and contracts to find solutions that for everyone involved. And finally, the surveyor. Of course, at the heart of all of this, we're still surveyors. Core expertise lies in measurement and quantification. We meticulously measure quantities of materials, labor, and resources needed for each project, producing a detailed bill of quantities that guide the entire construction process. And while technology has transformed how we do this with tools like BIM and automated measurement software, fundamental skills of understanding and applying measurement remains at the heart of what we do. So when someone asks what you do for a living, you could confidently say 7 people's jobs. Naturally, as time has progressed, not only has the role of the quantity surveyor evolved, but also the technology that we use. While Excel, paper contracts, and email remain staples in our workflow, today, I actually want to give you a glimpse of what we've been developing at Metroun, a step forward into the future of quantity surveying, but also in the present. Education remains at the heart of our organization, but we're also expanding into new territory. I think many of you have used contract management tools, particularly CMAR, which has been a reliable tool for ensuring collaboration between clients and contractors. But we've envisaged something more, a system that not only facilitates communication, but also adheres strictly to contract clauses and timelines. And I just want to make it very clear, this software is in beta phase, but you be the first people to see this technology before we actually bring it to the market. I'm going to take you on a very, very, very brief walkthrough, if that's okay. Okay, we'll get into this. This is Metroun Contracts Management in collaboration with IBEX software. So This, I hope you can all see this. This is what you see here really is that the contractor's main dashboard. So here we're looking in the eyes of or from the eyes of the contractor. So we're Bernard in this scenario, a contractor working for Balfour Beatty with our client, National Highways. So I'm just going to put this down here. Here you can see a long list of activities between the client and the contractor. We can see weather. Obviously, we're looking at this is at the moment an NEC piece of software. So you can see all your early warnings, your instructions, what actions you need to do, and any what actions you need to do. So, for example, here the client has issued an instruction to stop work. So, us as a contractor, we can go into that, we can find out what that is, and we can action that accordingly. The one big difference that you'll probably see is contract. So in this case, we're working on an NEC4 ECC option B contract. And one of the unique features of this software is that the entire contract is embedded in this platform, ensuring there are no discrepancies in the documentation. So every party involved views exactly the same information, which fosters transparency and alignment. So again, you can, I don't know, we can pop down to the general information. We can see all the X, Y, and Z clauses that are part of this contract. And again, this all works through workflows and timelines. But we'll very quickly go through each section. We can see in the operations side, we can see a list of our programs. We've got work records, forecast weather data, observed weather data. So we all understand with an NEC contract, weather is usually the risk of the contractor, unless there's a specific clause in the contract, usually a 1 in, I believe, 10-year storm, but you can correct me on that because I don't have that information to hand at the moment. We look at early warnings. So here we've got 2 early warnings. We can go into the information here, and we can see that everything is standardized and according to the contract. So we can see delay in completion, increase in impairment of performance. And then we've got a risk score as well. And this is all communicated between the client and the contractor and the subcontractor. Again, we've got compensation events. We've got compensation event notifications and quotations. We pop down to applications, so we can see the long list of applications that have been sent out by the contractor in accordance with the contract timelines and workflows, all the assessments made by the client, and all the certificates here as well, any shared uploads as well. And one of the key things that people tend to forget is quality management. So we have got a long list of we've got a defect register here. So again, we can create a defect, whether you're a client or a contractor, and that falls in line with what the contract says here. So the defect correction period here is 8 weeks, and that is there's pretty much there's no way to make a mistake if the contract has well, there is no way to make a mistake because it follows the contract workflows. Just to give you a quick example of that, if we pop over to a quotation, Bernard here sent over a notification to stop work, and then he sent over a quotation. This was sent over to the client. The client didn't respond within the timelines stated in the contract. So that became overdue, and it was deemed as accepted by the client. And one of the most powerful endorsements that we've received was from a contract disputes specialist who pretty much said, if everyone used software like this, he wouldn't be out of a job, but his work load would significantly reduce. Okay, well, that's a very quick overview of what we're really excited to share at some point, probably the early part of next year. But we'll be looking at refining this tool and hopefully bringing it to the market very, very soon. And then we get on to the fun bit, the future of quantity surveying. Now, I could keep this really short and just be upfront with you and say, honestly, we don't know the exact answer. But as good quantity surveyors, we don't let that stop us. Instead, we make educated guesses, we make educated estimates based on historical data, current trends, and of course, by listening to people who are a little bit smarter than us. So that's what I've done here. Spoken to the experts, I've looked at what's happening right now, and one of the key things that they said to me is take a look at artificial intelligence. And I'm going to do something that Professor David Heatham did in the 20th anniversary of QSI. I'm going to say steal, but borrow the final bit of his presentation. Like he said, it isn't perfect, but it's damn good. So for the next 2 minutes, instead of me talking to you, what I'll do is I'll stick my camera on just so you can see that I'm not talking and I haven't recorded this. This is an AI model that's recorded this. And I asked it, how do you believe, I asked this AI model, how do you believe the profession will change with the advent of AI? And yeah, take a listen. Oh, wait, actually, bear with me 2 seconds because you won't be able to hear this. Let's get that going. Sorry. Share sound.
First,
Did everyone hear that?
Yeah, just one little sound bite.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a snippet.
Fantastic. Just a snippet. Okay, so like I said, this is not me talking. This is a bit of text that I've thrown into an AI model, and this is what it's thrown out. I've asked the question, how do you believe the profession will change with the advent of AI?
First, let's be clear. AI isn't here to replace us. It's here to enhance what we do. Routine tasks like cost estimation, data analysis, and even tender preparation. These are areas where AI can dramatically speed up our work. Imagine being able to pull historical data or project trends in seconds instead of hours. AI can process enormous amounts of data much faster than we ever could. But it's not just about speed, it's about accuracy. AI can help us reduce human error, making our estimates and reports more precise. But here's the key. AI can't replace the critical thinking, judgment, and decision-making that we bring to the table. It won't sit across from a client and understand the nuances of a project's goals. It won't negotiate on behalf of a contractor or resolve a dispute with the same intuition and empathy that we can. In fact, AI will make these human aspects of our role even more important. So, instead of seeing AI as a threat, we should see it as a tool that can free us from repetitive tasks and allow us to focus more on high-value work, on strategy, on relationships, and on the complex problem-solving that no machine can replicate. The future for us as quantity surveyors isn't about being replaced by AI. It's about working alongside it, using it to elevate our role and continue to provide the expertise and value we've always delivered. That's the shift we need to embrace.
Okay, so that's what the machine said it would do. It said it would work alongside us, making the repetitive tasks obsolete. Now that's great for business, who want to reduce their overheads. And to be honest with you, it's good for experienced quantity surveyors too. For trainee quantity surveyors and assistant quantity surveyors coming through, these are the type of tasks that they need in order to sharpen their skills. They need to understand the fundamentals, how to raise a payment notice to a subcontractor, and how and why to raise an early warning. So with these removed, I've asked it another question. I've said, well, what is left for the trainees, the assistants, the people coming through in this profession? And this is what it said to me. So this is one final snippet.
While AI will handle some of the more routine work, it doesn't mean our trainees or assistants will be left behind. In fact, it creates a huge opportunity for them to focus on developing higher level skills much earlier in their careers. Instead of spending hours on manual tasks, they can dive into the more strategic aspects of quantity surveying, learning to interpret data, developing cost strategies, working closely with clients, and managing complex projects. In many ways, AI will accelerate their growth. Trainees won't be stuck in the weeds for as long. They'll get to engage in meaningful decision-making and problem-solving much sooner. And, as we all know, those are the skills that truly define a great quantity surveyor. So, rather than eliminating opportunities for our junior team members, AI will shift the nature of their work, allowing them to gain experience in areas that will make them even more valuable to the industry in the future. It's not about less opportunity, it's about better opportunity.
So as you can probably hear, it mimics my voice to a point. It's not quite perfect. If I called my mum with that voice, it probably I'd like to think my mum would recognize. My mum probably wouldn't recognize thinking about it, but I'd like to think maybe somebody else would recognize that we're not quite there yet. But that's where we are in 2024, 2025. Might be a different game altogether. So AI said there that trainees and assistants, instead of doing the kind of repetitive tasks of raising early warnings, raising payment notices, kind of looking at the subcontract level, it would be more engrossed in the kind of higher kind of management, not management roles, but in regards to communicating with the clients and the contractors, which is fine. And although I agree with it, what this highlights to me is that education will become even more crucial in the future. So if we don't invest in educating our team members, they risk performing tasks without fully understanding their purposes or the bigger picture. So one final point on AI and its profession and its impact on our profession. AI will seamlessly integrate into our daily work. So emails from clients and contractors will be reworded by AI. That's happening now. Contracts will be automatically reviewed and scrutinized, and your team meetings will have AI-driven minute takers, ensuring that every detail is accurately captured. It may sound like science fiction, but to be honest, this isn't the future, it's the present. It might feel unsettling, but all significant change does. The reality is we have two choices with AI. We can either embrace and adapt this new landscape, or we can resist and risk losing the edge that once set us apart. So we'll take a step back and we'll look at what else is in store for the future of quantity surveying beyond AI. We're on the cusp of some significant changes, and there are trends that will shape our profession in the coming years. So I've just highlighted 10 of these possible changes. There's obviously a lot more, but let's look at 10. And we start with the item that is, God, it's felt like it's always been here, and it's always in the future, and that's BIM, building information modeling. So with BIM, it's already started to reshape the construction landscape, but we're only really at the beginning on what we can tap into its potential. So right now, many of us use 3D BIM to visualize projects, but in the near future, 5D BIM, which integrates cost and scheduling data, will become standard. This means that as we have real time, we'll also be able to see the impact on budgets and timeline. The role of the quantity surveyor in this context will expand. We'll be the ones extracting data, tracking costs, and ensuring that our projects remain on budget time without the delays and inaccuracies that come from manually updating multiple systems. So in my mind, imagine a world where changes to a project design automatically generate a cost update, where any modifications instantly adjust the project schedule, and all stakeholders are working from the same live data. This will revolutionize how we collaborate and make decisions, reducing error, ensuring smoother project delivery. Secondly, sustainability and green construction. It's not just an added bonus anymore. It's become an expectation from clients, governments, and communities. Green construction practices, buildings, and the use of sustainable materials are no longer niche. They're becoming mainstream. As quantity surveyors, we're uniquely positioned to lead this change. It's our job to balance the cost implications of sustainable choices while maintaining value for our clients. Life cycle costing will become even more important as clients seek long-term savings through energy efficiency, reduce waste, and carbon neutral projects. We'll need to develop expertise in areas like renewable energy systems, sustainable materials, and energy performance standards. This is where we, quantity surveyors, can become key advisors, helping clients make informed decisions that not only meet the environmental standards, but also offer financial benefits in the long term. With the construction industry under increasing pressures to reduce its environmental impact, this will be a huge growth area for us. Now we look at data-driven decision-making. So in a data-driven world, those who can apply data effectively will lead this. For QSs, the ability to harness big data for cost estimation, risk management, and project forecast be a game changer. AI combined with predictive analytics will allow us to analyze past projects and current market trends to make more accurate predictions about future cost, risks, and even project timelines. Think about this. We'll be able to use data to spot patterns to predict outcomes in ways that were previously impossible. For example, identifying risk factors early on in a project based on data from similar past projects to prevent costly delays. It's not just about being reactive anymore. It's about using data to be proactive and stay ahead of potential challenges. And I think one of the key drivers here will probably be the likes of BCIS. Next, we go on to smart contracts and blockchain. So blockchain technology might sound like a distant concept for many, but it's already making its way into the construction industry. One of the most exciting applications is smart contracts, self-executing contracts where the terms of the agreement are written directly into the code. These contracts automatically trigger actions like payment when certain conditions are met, reducing the potential for disputes and delays. In the future, blockchain will allow us to track every transaction, every change, and every document in a secure, transparent ledger. This could revolutionize how we manage contracts, payments, and project documentation, reducing disputes and ensuring greater accountability. Smart contracts will be a massive step forward in contract management, reducing the need for intermediaries, making the entire process faster and more secure. So what we're doing here with Metroun contract management is we're looking at the contract side of it, which does exactly what this does. In regards to payments will be a separate item altogether. Also with Metroun contract management, that's a centralized system. With blockchain, it's a decentralized system. So the easiest way to explain that is all the data with Metroun contract management comes through us. Where with blockchain, it'd be live data that pretty much anyone could see. But you wouldn't have a company name like Alphabeti and here's the cost associated with it. You'll have a unique code that could be anyone. And then you'd see a unique code that would relate to a contract, and you'd see all the cost data associated with that. Okay. Now we look at remote working and collaboration. So if we've learned anything from recent years, is that remote working and digital collaboration is here to stay. In the future, cloud-based tools will allow us to seamlessly work with teams across the globe in real time. We're talking about virtual site visits where drones or cameras capture data remotely, allowing us to monitor progress without physically being on site. Tools like AI-powered meeting assistants will take minutes, ensuring every detail is captured and nothing is getting lost in translation. Virtual collaboration platforms will allow us to share live data, track progress, and communicate with clients and contractors instantly. This is the future of teamwork, connected, real-time, global. That pushes us on to drones and site monitoring. Drones are already starting to make an impact in construction. Their role will only grow in the years ahead. Drones will allow us to capture accurate data in large areas quickly and efficiently, enabling real-time site monitoring, progress tracking, and even safety inspections. For us as QSs, this means faster and more accurate site measurements, better control over project timelines, and the ability to assess conditions without physically being on site. Imagine being able to receive real-time data from a project hundreds of miles away, allowing you to check progress, monitor costs, and ensure resources are being used efficiently, all without leaving your office. Oh, that's the wrong way. Advanced risk management. So with the advent of AI, big data, and predictive analytics, our approach to risk management will become far more advanced. Rather than reacting to risks after they occur, we'll be able to identify potential risks much earlier in the project lifecycle and implement mitigation strategies before they become an issue. This will not only save money, but also improve overall project performance. For example, if data shows that a type of project, that a certain type of project has high risk of delays due to specific supply chain issues, we can proactively adjust timelines, budgets, and procurement strategies to avoid these risks. In this new world, managing risk will be more dynamic, data-driven process. Then we look at augmented reality and virtual reality. They're two different things, but we'll go into that. So AR and VR are going to transform how we engage with the construction industry. With AR, we'll be able to overlay digital information into real-world environments, allowing us to visualize construction elements on site before they're built. VR, on the other hand, will allow us to walk through a virtual version of a project long before the first brick is laid. This will make it easier to identify design flaws, cost-saving opportunities, and potential issues early on in the process. I actually see with VR that the biggest impact will be for clients. So it's one thing to look at blueprints or digital models, but it's a completely different experience to walk through a building before it's actually built. And this will help bridge the gap between client expectations and the final outcome, reducing the likelihood of costly design changes down the line. And the one that I haven't put in here is the evolving role of our soft skills. So as we've seen with AI, a large part of the repetitive routine tasks may let me just use that word may be automated. So as technology takes over those routine tasks, our human skills like communication, negotiation, and client relationship management will become even more important. Clients will still rely on us to interpret the data, provide strategic advice, and help navigate complex projects. In many ways, this will actually elevate the role of a quantity surveyor, making us trusted advisors, not just number crunchers. The more technology handles the what, the more we'll focus on the why and the how. Our ability to lead, communicate effectively, and manage relationships will actually set us apart in this new era. And finally, we look at the ethical and legal challenges. With great technology comes great responsibility. As AI and digital tools become more ingrained in what we do, we'll face new ethical and legal challenges. How do we use data privacy when handling sensitive project information? What happens when AI makes a biased or flawed decision? Because it will. These are questions that we, as quantity surveyors, need to grapple with. Staying informed about these issues and seeing ethical guidelines for the use of technology in our field will be crucial. The future of quantity surveying is incredibly exciting. We're moving towards a profession that's more dynamic, more data-driven, and more integrated with technology than ever before. Those who adapt and embrace these changes will thrive in this new landscape. We're entering into a period where quantity surveyors will be more essential than ever, just as cost managers, as trusted advisors, shaping the future, construction itself. The opportunities are enormous, but we are in the perfect position to seize them. And that's where my presentation ends, but what we'll try and do is we'll try and get into our 3 key points. We'll get into that final quiz. So we've looked at the past, and we'll get into the future now. So I'd like to reiterate that AI is an enhancing tool, not a replacement for our industry. Personally, I think it will be a replacement for a lot of professions, but I don't believe it'll be our profession. There'll be a lot more data-driven decision making. So we look at harnessing big data for cost estimation, risk management, and forecasting. And then we look at the future of technology integration. So we look at AI, BIM, AR, blockchain. And it does feel like a very technological future, but that's probably been the case for the last 10, 20 years anyway. And that's probably why our profession is changing to the degree that it actually is. And we'll look at 2 questions here. So I think what I should have done is this isn't a very good advert for I created these quizzes this morning. So what I should have done is I should have said that we can retake these quizzes and we can get back into that. So actually we're getting to 10 to now. So I'll quickly go through these questions. So what's the significance of sustainability in the future of construction? So for me, sustainability will become a standard expectation from the clients and government. And what should quantity surveyors do managing in regards to managing ethical and legal challenges? So we can either have minimal impact, which we won't. We're saying AI will handle all ethical issues, which we're saying is not the case. Informed about ethical and legal challenges related to AI, which is the case. And AI will eliminate the need for ethical considerations, which is not the case. We need to stay informed and understand that AI isn't perfect, and it will never be perfect. It will make flawed decisions. It will make decisions that are flawed. What it tends to do is guess if it doesn't know the answer, and we need to be certain that that is the correct answer. But I'll just show you now. We can retake that quiz. We know the answer here, and we know the answer. Yeah, we'll finish our quiz. It'll give us 100 out of 100, and then with all the other courses, you would get your CPD hours, usually 20-minute course. But anyway, thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me this morning. I hope this has appealed to the historians who enjoy studying the past, the observers grounded in the present, and the futurists who envisage what lies ahead. So if you've got any questions, I'm more than happy to answer those questions. If not, I'm more than happy to not answer those questions too.
Thank you, Joseph. That was really interesting. Really good insight there. It's interesting. I know you couldn't see the chat, but you've spot one or two memories in people in there. There's one guy saying we used to use Lotus 123 before Excel and Microsoft took over the world.
Yeah, so part of my notes was actually stating that, you know, Excel was built on the shoulders of Lotus 123. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I had no idea what Lotus 123 was. I'm in the era of Excel, but
yeah, all right.
I presume it's a spreadsheet application as well.
Basically, yes. And then there was a comment saying that in the rain we had to use pencil with our dim books as pens didn't work in the rain.
That's fair, and that's one of the things that my directors said very clearly. Yeah, does value engineering protect the quality of building? I wish I had Lotus Excel in the early 80s to calculate monthly prices. Does anyone have any questions?
Can you see the chat now? If you scroll down, there are a couple
I can
in
see
there
it now.
Yeah, just.
Isn't there a danger that future professionals will lack on-site experience and knowledge of the various building tasks becoming so far removed from the actual? Yes, I believe they definitely will. So with the advent of AI specifically, I know I've got trainees, assistant QSs that rely heavily on the likes of ChatGPT or Gemini or all those tools. To be honest with you, a large part of their assignments in university is powered from AI, and it's quite dangerous because what tends to happen in that scenario is, I think around about now, I don't quote me, but I think it's around about 60% of all information on the internet is AI driven. Is produced by some form of artificial intelligence. So what happens is you then get recycling information which isn't actually true. And this is where we need professionals like everyone here to actually set the records straight and be the ones presenting that information, because if we just rely on AI, it will make its best possible guess, which isn't always true.
Yeah.
People need to go on site. That's one of the key things I say to all my QS is get on site, see what's happening. You need to understand how a building is actually being made, not just the theory behind it. And this is where I believe education, but also education can evolve into what happens on site, and that kind of communication between the site manager and the QS is really powerful. Anyway, I'll carry on down the list. A lot already too far from the actual delivery, I agree. And it also depends what sector you start off in. So I started off in the highways sector, so in infrastructure, and a large part of the work happened at 3 o'clock in the morning. So when I started off in the industry, I wasn't on site as much as I should have been or wanted to have been. In building, it is a bit different. I think, you've got your normal 8 till 5 working day, and you can be on site in a site cabin and physically see that. But it does depend what industry you're in, I think. If I'm being totally honest with you, in the highways industry where I first started, I went on site maybe 3 times a year, if that. So I was removed from that until I went into the building sector. Does anyone else have a similar experience with infrastructure compared to the building? Well, not really. I'll take that as not really. Is there any other questions?
Well, not really a question, but I remember people saying that by the time I got to the age I am now, because of computers, I'd have so much spare time that I'd have to have lots and lots of hobbies and things to fill my day. And
Absolutely.
in fact, with the use of mobile phones and the way the internet's gone, computers have not given me more time. They've stolen the free time I used to have. But I think you make an interesting point in that people are very worried about AI, but AI has got to be seen as a tool that we can use as computers, because initially computers were going to take away our job. We're all going to be redundant and say loads of time, and it hasn't happened. And I think the fears of AI are along similar lines, really. It's not going to take away the job. It's got to be used as a tool, because ultimately somebody with experience can look at something that comes out of a computer, because you put rubbish into a computer, you get rubbish out. And as you quite rightly say with AI, I mean, it's quite interesting as doing some work at various universities. There's quite an interesting idea, and I'm an external examiner at one university, and what they've done is they now set courseworks, and because of AI, what they do is the tutor, as a test, actually puts the question into the chat thing and prints out the answer and gives it to all their students, and then says, right, that's the question, that's the AI answer. If any of that appears in your answers, you'll be marked down for it. So they've actually got to go and do the research, which I thought was quite a neat idea, a neat way of doing things. But no, the important point is, yes, it's a tool. But I've also done, I sit as adjudicator. I did an adjudication and had a meeting where the quantity surveyor and the main contractor's quantity surveyor met for the first time, even though the professional quantity surveyor had done all the valuations and was to sort out the final account. He'd never actually been to site throughout the whole job. And when I questioned him as to why, he said the partner said the fees wouldn't stand me travelling to site. So this not attending site is not a new thing. Sorry, those are my comments.
No, I really enjoyed those comments. Thank you, Keith. I think you're definitely right with AI. I think people are scared and people are worried, thinking, "Oh crap, I'm gonna lose my job." But like you said, it's very similar to what happened with the advent of computers, and it is a significant change. It is a big change. It's not. I think with blockchain technology, that was a change, but not a significant change to our industry. And I think AI will be a significant change, but it won't replace what we do. We'll just evolve into a different kind of more refined part of profession. So like I said, when I was talking about the present, we've got to put on several hats now. My directors, my clients, they come to me for that kind of expert advice, and I'm the main communicator between all parties. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I'm not too sure what that was like 40, 50 years ago. I'm not too sure if that was the case, but I can definitely tell you today, a lot of the information between my team, as in the contractor and the client, all gets filtered through myself. Whether that's a risk management, I don't know whether that's everybody else. I speaking to a lot of present quantity surveyors, that seems to be the case as well. I'm still sharing my screen, so all of you are seeing yourself, aren't you? There we go. Is there any other questions? Could you please provide a CPD
just people
record
asking
paper?
me. Yeah, I can deal with all of that, don't worry. Yep. So
well, what I can do is I can provide, so with our website, whenever a course is completed, you get a certificate stating what the course is and how long it's actually taken, with a QR code in the bottom right hand corner that says, this is the day you've done it, this is where it's come from. It's come from a legitimate place. So, you know, the likes of QSI and CICES and RICS, they all look at that and go, yes, we accept that. Although the quiz didn't work too well today, sorry.
We send out QSI certificates for the people that come to these presentations too, Joseph. So yes, if anyone wants one or a copy of your slides, is that okay, Joseph?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll
send
out
have
slides.
those. Yeah. And we're going to be putting the recording onto YouTube, I believe. That's what.
Yeah, so if it's okay with everyone else,
yeah.
So we've got 26,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you'd like to follow us on YouTube, that'll be great. We upload a new video every single Wednesday, and that's topics from, you know, AI all the way down to how to create a schedule of rate item. So we there's a vast number of topics. There's 230 videos. You get to listen to my voice again, which is quite sad for you guys, but if you'd like to do that. But this will go on there. So if it's okay, I'm just thinking of like Keith and Richard. Are you okay with your face appearing on the wonderful YouTube?
Not a problem at all.
Yes,
perfect face for radio, isn't it?
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh, dear. I look more like Father Christmas every day.
You do. I was thinking that. Okay.
Oh, thank you, Suzanne.
I think we will. We'll close there. Thank you very much, Joseph. Thank you all for attending, and we hope to see you again in November. We do have our speaker lined up. He just hasn't told me what he's speaking about yet. I apologise, but we'll send information out as usual on the email to you all. So yeah, CPDs or certificates, do let me know. Just very quickly, QSI and Metroun, Joseph's company, are partners. We are partners, which we're very proud of, and a discount is available for Metroun subscription fees for all QSI members. So please do bear that in mind.
And all quizzes, by the way, and not produced the day before. So we've got over 40 hours of formal CPD. No, like 48 hours at the moment, with 2 hours uploaded each and every month as well. So everything works.
Yeah, it's a great product. It is. Okay.
Sorry, very quick one. Metroun contract management, like I said, that's January. That isn't available. So if you go on our website, you can't see anything about that at the moment. That's something that will be coming Q1 2025, I suggest.
Okay, lovely. Okay, thank you all very much. And a huge thank you to Joseph. That was great.
Yeah. Well, that was a great presentation. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, Keith. Thanks, Joseph. That was really good.
Great. Thank you, Suzanne.
Okay.
Yeah, if you'd like us to do one next year, do
yeah,
tell
absolutely.
us.
Yeah, that would be great. We'll keep you in the sort of the circle of our speakers now.
Wonderful.
Because it'll help to give it another kick, won't it?
Perfect. What we'll do next time. So the one thing that we didn't do this time, if we're being totally honest with you, is we didn't push it out to our YouTube audience. We'll do what I wanted to do was create something. We'll get it onto YouTube. People can see what it's like.
Right.
And then the next one will go, remember what we did here? Come, and then hopefully you'll get a lot more people coming to watch my ugly face.
Yeah, that's great.
Anyway, I'll speak to you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Okay. All the best. Take care.